Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So if you're new here, my name is Eleanor. I'm an artist and tattoo artist with an interior design background. I own the Eleanor Onyx tattoo studio in Congleton in Cheshire. Today the studio needs a bit of a deep clean, so I'm going to go do that. I think I'm going to show you like a little bit of a studio tour as well. And I'm also going to talk about why I chose to open a private tattoo studio. I've worked in tattoo shops before, and that's how I started with a tattoo apprenticeship. So I kind of did that. And then after a little bit, moved around to a couple of studios, and then I decided I wanted to open up my own private studio. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about kind of why, the pros and cons of both, because there definitely are pros and cons of both, and just why I personally decided that that was the right decision for me, in case you're thinking about doing it yourself, or you're just generally interested in the process and everything else. So I think that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to go and grab the cleaning stuff now and head up to the studio, and then yeah, we'll get started and we'll just kind of go through. I'll probably show you some of my equipment, some of the bits that I buy, some of the things I recommend, the general tour of the studio, and yeah, we'll just have a little chit chat, so it'll be good. All right, I will see you upstairs. Okay, we are in the studio, so what I'll do is I'll just do a little whip round so you can kind of see what we're working with. I'll just show you like everything, just because obviously everything needs a bit of a clean, so it might be a bit dusty. But side table, which I got from Home Sense. It's a little mushroom, don't know if you can tell, it's like the cutest thing ever. We've got the sink, which you will need a sink with hot water if you want to have private studio. That's sort of something that you need. Some of my artwork, and we've got some little lollies for all the good customers when they've sat really well. These are just tongue, I don't know whether they're called tongue suppressors or depressors, because I hear people calling them both things, but anyway, that's what they are, and they are literally just for me to get the Vaseline out of the tub. Nothing crazy. Little side shelves. I basically wanted as much storage off the floor as possible, just to kind of maximise the room space. So obviously sink there. These are my tattoo batteries, so from like my tattoo machine. We have the sharps needle bin, and then obviously this one to the right is like the chemical waste bin, and then that one's just like a general bin. I tiled the back of the area that I work, and it's like a little bit of a splashback. I got these tiles, they're actually like vinyl strips, and you basically just stick them to the wall. They're amazing. Again, I got them on Amazon, really cheap. Well, not really cheap, but like cheap enough. I actually bought this that you can see on the wall here from IKEA, and the attachments, so you get the backboard and then the attachments come separately, which you can buy and rejig around to where you want them to go. They didn't have black though, so I kind of painted them up in this black and gold, but this I use every day. It's so good. I literally say to everyone who has a studio, just like get one of these above your station, because A, it keeps everything off the sides, so you're not getting it potentially contaminated, but it's just so easy to hand. So I've got like all my stuff on there. I've got the small, medium, large ink caps, my rolls, the tongue suppressors or depressors, alcohol and green soap, obviously my tattoo machine's up there, stencil stuff. All the stuff you need basically is just like right there to hand, and it's just so handy, honestly. It was like nothing, costs like no money at all. Definitely worth getting. I have my little blackboard pinboard. So this, again, really cheap. I painted it up to match the studio, obviously, because we can't have bear cork knocking around. But this was so we opened up on Halloween. It was like, it wasn't intentional, but it just happened to be the day that I could officially start trading. So yeah, 3 years this Halloween will have been open, which is amazing. I always say we, but I mean me and all my personalities, but I've got a really bad habit of saying we. I opened up on Halloween. Anyway, so I got these little shelves again, just keeping things like to the wall, you know, so you've got as much floor space as possible. And they're all for my inks. Little IKEA trolley, which everyone has. Just really handy for all this kind of stuff that you want to hand. Pretty much just like gloves, cling film, kitchen roll, bed wrap, all that stuff. So that's on there. And then I'll just show you around here, obviously my light. So all the walls are a bit of a work in progress. I'm like adding art to them. This, one of my absolutely lovely customers got me, and she knew I was into all this kind of stuff, but it was silver when she originally bought it. She's like, I know you love gold, so feel free to paint it up, which I obviously did. But how nice is that? It looks so cool up there. But yeah, honestly, my customers are so lovely. I couldn't ask for a better customer base. Hooks for customers' coats and bits and bobs when they come in. And then this corner, I had this little alcove and I wasn't really sure what to do with it in the room. So I thought, you know, it'd be really good if I had some thin shelves, like shallow shelves, and then I can have all the artwork that I've framed up, like ready to sell. So we've also got some of my gift cards here, which I need to organise. Everything does need a bit of a clean and sort out. But yeah, so some of this stuff obviously is just, I've sold a bit recently. But yeah, this is all just ready to sell straight off the shelves. And I really just wanted a bit of a display area. So this is what we've done with this corner. This colour, by the way, if you're wondering, it's from the Velspar range at B&Q. And it's called Deep Aubergine. I don't know how well it'll come across on camera because it usually looks quite light, but it's a really moody, lovely, like plummy colour. This room is quite a dark room. It doesn't really get much natural sunlight. I think it's like, I don't think it's north facing, but it's definitely, it doesn't get much sun. So I kind of wanted to embrace the moodiness of it rather than trying to make it look really light, you know, with a white or something and it looking washed out. So we've gone for moody vibes. Another little mirror, some more artwork. This is just stock that has just been delivered, so I'll go through some of this because I can show you some of the bits that I get often. This is a little chest of drawers that I bought in, I think it was just a charity shop somewhere, and I actually painted up, so let me go around so you can see it a bit better. So yeah, I painted it black. Oh, I need to like all the chips and stuff. I think I actually dropped my tripod over here so you can see the like chaos it created. But yeah, so I painted these black and then I did like a little gold brush effect on the edges. And then I think they're the original handles. I just painted them gold. But yeah, I was quite pleased with how this came out. That's kind of gothy, kind of cute. One of the things that I did when I moved into this room was change the floor, because you have to have, one of the things for the private studio or just any tattoo studio, you need to have like a moppable floor. So the checkerboard tile, again, it's just vinyl. I wanted it really cheap and cheerful because it's obviously going to get scuffed, you know, you're going to have like ink dropped on it, things like that. So I didn't want to be overly precious about it, but I love that kind of old school checkerboard look. Because this was originally a bedroom, this area here was a built-in wardrobe. Excuse my bare bulb. That is one of the next things that I need to do in here. Still a work in progress, we're getting there. I need to get a nice light fixture. But this area, I got my joiner to make me a like built-in shelving unit for all my artwork and my papers and obviously like tattoo equipment and bits and bobs. So this is so handy. It's one of the things I'm going to clean and organise today. I generally keep things in here really organised anyway, but obviously it just gets a bit dusty, so it just needs a deep clean every now and again. So yeah, this is all the bits, and I don't know if you can see, like the back was wallpapered for some reason, like the back of the wardrobe. So I was like, oh my God, that's going to be a right pain in the ass to like try and remove. So in the end, I just painted it black. And then again, obviously, because I'm obsessed with black and gold, it was probably a bit overkill, but I painted it black and then I brushed gold over it because it's textured. So let me show you a bit up close. Excuse any dust that you see. So it's like that kind of textured old wallpaper. Which was great actually because the texture picked up the gold brush, so it kind of created this really cool textured abstract vibe, which I kind of like, and it matches the ceiling. I also painted obviously all the wood that went in, which was just MDF. They just did it on the cheap. Not that it was cheap, but it would have been a lot more expensive if I'd gone for like a really fancy wood. I painted it black and then did the little edging, this black and gold, so it's all in keeping. Again, I probably went a bit overboard, but I was excited and I love gold, so what the hell. So yeah, that was that. And then I painted the ceiling, so obviously everything's black. Ceiling is black, and then so everyone asks me about the ceiling. They're like, how did you do it? Is it wallpapered? Like, no, wallpapering ceiling is like a nightmare. I've never done it, but I've tried to I've removed wallpaper from the ceiling before in like houses that I've had in the past, and it was just an absolute shit show. So I would never do that to somebody else, but painted it black. And then what I did was I scrunched up tracing paper and had gold metal paint in a tray, and then I basically just like scrunched it onto the wall. And yeah, it kind of created this like textured look, which I like. And it's much better than a plain ceiling when someone's lying on the bed and staring up at the ceiling the whole time, because I've had lots of customers try and pick like shapes and things out. I know apparently there's a penis up there. One of my customers the other day, she's like, I can definitely see a penis. I don't know whether she was like manifesting that or what, but that was very funny. I originally had my drawing desk in this corner, which is now downstairs. So I liked it being in here because I wanted everything originally like in one room, but I did find that I just wasn't using it. So obviously I'm tattooing all day with my customers, and then in my evenings I didn't want to then be in here drawing, and it's just like one room like all day. You don't really see any sunlight or anything like that. So anyway, I've moved that downstairs, so I actually do my drawing downstairs now. So I've added a little seat here for customers, because some people like to come in with like a friend, or they'll be getting matching tattoos and whatnot. So I've got my little stool here. This is from Rocket St. George, which is one of my favourite interior brands. Love. And then I just teamed it with this little shaggy cushion, so it's a bit more comfy for my customers. Here is a little bit where you can shop prints. So these are some of my prints that I'm currently selling. So these are limited edition, original hand-drawn ink prints, and yeah, you can basically shop them in the studio. I don't know what is going on with my gimbal right now. It's having a life of its own. There we go. Yeah, so you can basically like browse and shop them in the studio, which is quite nice. So I had a sale the other day from that, which was lovely. Got my little business cards over here. The window, I didn't want any fabric on it or blinds, because I wanted to have as much, you probably can't see that very well because the light's a bit dodgy. I wanted to have as much natural light in as I could. And also I didn't want fabric on there because obviously with it being a tattoo studio, you kind of want to limit the amount of fabric you have, because obviously you don't want anything porous that you can't clean. So I just literally put this privacy vinyl on the window so you can't see in or out, but the light still comes through. And yeah, basically that was it for the window. So my customers can get nicky and they're all comfortable. And then this corner is kind of like the boring corner, really. So I've got my license that I got from the council, which were, by the way, Cheshire East. So I'm in Cheshire East. The woman that I worked with from the council was the loveliest, most helpful woman. I really didn't know what to expect when I was like looking into opening my studio. And I was like, oh God, I'm going to have a battle on my hands to try and, get this home business. I've never had one before. She was so helpful and honestly couldn't do enough. So I was really surprised, actually. So if you're worried about that, I wouldn't necessarily worry too much. Hopefully you're lucky like I was and get a really nice person. Because again, she just talked me through every step of the way and was just super, super helpful. So yeah, really, I think she was called Annabelle or Angela or something like that. It's been a few years now. I can't wonder if it says it on there. No, it doesn't. But she was honestly just so lovely. I tried to buy her some flowers, but she can't accept them because it'd be like seen as a bribe. But I was like, but I'm so thankful. I want to give you something. And she's like, no. And she didn't like tattoos either, so I couldn't give her a free tattoo. But anyway, I was very thankful. So yeah, apart from that, I've got my carbon printer over here. I've got my like normal printer, and then I have these boxes, which again I just got from IKEA and then just wrote on them with what did I use? Like a pen. a waterproof paint pen I think I used, and basically just wrote so I can just keep everything stocked up and it keeps everything organised for me. Obviously tattoo bed over here, which I put up and then wrap when customers are on the bed. Extra paper, so yeah, all that kind of stuff there. Again, some more of my artwork. And I did this one, I've got video. Did I do a video? I think I actually didn't do a long video on it. This, oh my God, my gimbal, calm down. I did this a few weeks ago now, which I'm obsessed with. I think it's one of my new favourite illustrations that I've done. But basically I need to, what's the word? Put it on the wall. Hang it, that's the word I was looking for. I've actually bought these, I'll show you actually, they're just over here. Come round. I use these sticky Velcro things for adding pictures to the walls, and they're amazing. So definitely recommend using them if you don't want to put nails in your walls. Like if you're renting somewhere or something, they're really handy, especially if you're renting like a studio space actually. The one thing to be mindful of is if you use them, when you take them off, they can sometimes pull the plaster off a little bit. So be ready with like some polyfiller and like sanding stuff, and you know, you might need to repaint. We're going to give it all a good clean now. Hopefully you found that interesting. Just get all organised today. This week's actually quite quiet with tattoos, so I'm making the most of doing all the bits that I never have time to do. Like deep cleans, restocks, extra filming. I missed, I promised myself I was going to do one YouTube video a week, because it's my new thing is like to make more content for YouTube. And because I was in Dorset on a family holiday last week, I missed a YouTube video because I tried to cram one in, but it was just going to be a bit crap. And I was like, you know, like filming 2 in 1 week. And I was like, no, I'd rather just skip a week and then I can actually do something decent when I get back. What was the point of this conversation? I can't remember. Anyway, YouTube. So I'm trying to film more. So on quiet, like tattoo weeks, I can actually get some more filming done, which is nice. These lollies are so good. I have to stop myself from eating them. They're like, they're strawberries and cream. Oh, chef's kiss. And because I had to get loads of lollies online, which is good, but they're all like sugar-free, because obviously they're healthier. But I was like, no, I want the sugar, because it's like if someone's like blood sugar's crashing and they're getting a bit shaky, they need a bit of sugar. So I wanted the sugary lollies. But yeah, they're so nice, like too nice. I originally had Haribo in here as well, but I'm such a Haribo fiend, like it's not even funny. If there's Haribo around me, I will inhale that. So I had to not have that because I was just eating it all, which wasn't ideal. Beautiful. Right. This sink, by the way, guys, was probably one of the most expensive things. One of, tattoo machine, I think was probably first. But this sink, because it's an electric plug-in hot water sink, oh my God. It took me, first of all, so long to find a plug-in electric hot water sink. Like I had to get it from this catering company. I think, don't quote me, but I think it was around £750. I'm sure it was something like that. It's quite an expense, but because I didn't want, and I couldn't have plumbing, like water plumbing in this room, it needed to be one where I basically can just change out the tank and it like heats up, and then obviously you've got like hot running water and all that kind of jazz. But yeah, like honestly, it took me so long to find one. But yeah, you just need to have one. The council come and check it for you, like your studio, and they see your setup and everything you've got. And yeah, this was one of the things on the checklist, that you had to have a hot water one. So yeah, just something to budget for and bear in mind if you're setting up your own studio. This armrest, by the way, beautiful. I can't remember where I got this. I think I had to order it from America, actually, thinking about it. Because I remember being there, like a little issue with delivery, because I didn't realise that there was an extra delivery charge, and I obviously hadn't, like, they tagged it on at the end, like after it had been delivered, it's like, oh, now you got to pay delivery. So at first I thought it was a scam, so I just ignored it, and then I was getting like calls and like people like chasing me for this money, and I'm like, what even are you talking about? I haven't ordered anything from America. And then I realised it was that. So that was a bit weird, but the actual the armrest itself, it's really nice, really chunky. It's I always see these like spindly little thin armrests, and that one, it's just like, this is from Halfords, this tattoo, what do you even call them? Well, it's not, it's like a, what do you call them? Like a workbench thing? No. Toolbox on wheels? I don't know. Whatever this thing is, it's great, but they sell them. So obviously this one's from Halfords. It's got the little Halford sign here, which I do need to like get off actually, because it's really annoying to clean around. But this was so cheap compared to basically the exact same thing without the Halford sign on on the tattoo shop websites. So I would just recommend getting one from Halfords, honestly. Like, they're just so much cheaper. It's like we were saying before, especially when you're setting up and you've got like a lot to pay for, you know, everything does add up. You know, it's like ongoing expenses. So if you can save in areas where you don't need, like, it's literally the same thing, it's just got the little Halfords tag on. So why would you spend, I'm not joking, it was like double the price. I can't remember how much this was. I don't quote me, but maybe it was like 300, something like that. And I think it was like 900. It was obscenely more expensive on the tattoo websites than getting it just from your local Halfords. Just didn't make any sense to me. So it was actually my friend Lottie, who's a tattoo artist, who I used to work with at Skin Creations. She was the one who put me onto this and recommended it to me, and I'm really, really glad that she did. So now I can tell you guys. Gets to clean my bins. Don't forget those bad boys. That's actually empty. Get rid of that one. Ah. All this a good clean, and I can stock everything back up. So I'll do the same with my inks. So I don't have much shelving for inks because I work black and grey. So I don't have many colours or anything like that. I literally have like barely any. I have a bit of red just because sometimes people will be like, can I have this, but like with a splash of red in or whatever. So I have that as like an emergency colour. But yeah, basically I pretty much do black and grey. So yeah, shelving, I don't need loads of space, but I have seen people who have like, who are colour artists, and they've got these incredible like, oh, you can get some beautiful like storage units, and you can have all the like different coloured inks on show, and they do look amazing. Don't want to spray this. A little bit of paint flaking off on this, but it's okay. Literally never use this thing. It's for putting your ink caps in. But because I only use black and grey, I think that was something that I bought when I first was getting into tattooing. I was like, I need everything. And then, you know, you don't use half the stuff you end up buying, because it's like, especially if you specialise, like obviously I specialise in black and grey now, so I don't need like so much stuff. Because I generally work with the same kind of ink, same setup. You know, it's like, I use different gradients of grey, but I'm not using like 20 different colours and things like that. So same with like my mixer. Cutest little thing ever. It's like a little blender, but very, very rarely use this. I just kind of buy my inks pre-mixed. Again, because I'm lazy, and also it's just easier, like you're faffing around mixing things. And also if you're kind of going back into working on the same piece, you know, I would definitely forget what I use. I'd have to write everything down, and then it's just like, oh no, you know, you like your measurements and stuff. So some people do that though, and they swear by that kind of method, and they'll just have like a mixable, like clear liquid, like a water or whatever, or the solutions that you get, and they'll mix all their shades from like a black ink. But that sounds like a lot of work to me. I don't know why I've got pencil in there actually, that doesn't make any sense. Put that on there. This thing that I've got here was for my kitchen roll, which I've not stocked up in a while. But it's just easy, like if you want, just grab something. You don't faff around taking it off the roll. My kitchen roll, everyone's kind of got their own preference. It's like such a weird thing to have a specific preference about, but I like Plenty myself, as in the brand Plenty. It's just really nice and thick and doesn't tear. You know, one piece goes like such a long way, and it's generally relatively soft. It's not overly scratchy, so your customer's not like dying in agony as you're like wiping them. Also, guys, can we not like dry wipe people? Because use a little bit of green soap when you don't need a lot, but use a little bit of green soap when you're wiping someone. Like, I used to go to this artist, like he was so talented, but oh my God, he was such a fan of the dry wipe. And you'd be like, towards the end of the session, he's like scraping your skin. With this kitchen roll, I'm like, for the love of God, man, put something on it. So yeah, do your customers a favour and use a bit of green soap as you're wiping them down. Also, it wipes better, like it just cleans the area better. So like, why wouldn't you do that, you know? Right, should we be really organised and go in number order. 20, 40. I think we need a 60 wash. I ran out, so I'll go straight to 80. I was getting a bit tired of cleaning, so I thought we'd have a little chit chat instead. So I kind of wanted to go through just a couple of bits about why I chose to open up my private studio and my experience just going, from a tattoo shop to a private studio, the differences, the pros and cons, things like that, because it is something that I think a lot of people have quite big opinions on, like, tattoo shop versus home studio, private studio, all that kind of stuff. And I get why that there is a bit of a lot of artists do kind of find the private studio thing a bit like, I don't know, they just have negative opinions on it. But for me, it just worked really well. And I think, so to kind of give you a bit of background, I recently got diagnosed last year with ADHD. I have, so bear in mind, I'm like 39 now. So I had a lot of years where I was working in retail for years. And I would really struggle with, obviously now I know that it was getting overstimulated and having anxiety and things like that, and then also burning out. But at the time I didn't know, because obviously I got diagnosed really late, and I kind of realised that I was on the spectrum like really, really late. So I would go through work, and I'd start off in a place and I'd be doing really well, and like the first 4 months I'd be like the model employee, like working loads, like taking on loads of projects, like going above and beyond, because I've always been quite ambitious in like things that I want to do, and I've always I wanted to kind of progress and stuff like that. But then I would end up hitting a wall and essentially burning out, and my attendance and would be terrible. I'd be like, I'd wake up and be like, oh, fuck. And you just get that feeling of like, you just can't go into work. Basically, I didn't understand it. And I was like, I feel so depressed. And I kept getting signed off with like low mood all the time from the doctors. And obviously, because I couldn't explain why I was feeling how I was feeling, I just thought I was depressed. And I was like, I don't understand why, because nothing's happened. That's what was the most frustrating thing for me. It's like, I'd have my bosses and things asking me like, well, what's happened? Like, why are you having this like panic attack in work? And why are you, not able to come in because you're so depressed? And I'd be like, I don't know. I literally don't know. I feel terrible. I can't come into work and I can't really give you a reason. And so obviously that would trigger so much like, self-loathing and like feeling like you were just broken and you weren't good enough and all this kind of stuff. So you're spiraling when you're at home. Anyway, it would not be a good time for me, and I really struggled for so many years, and so I kind of ended up hopping from job to job, because I'd have all these good intentions, but then my attendance would get so bad because of all this stuff that it was kind of like I'd have multiple disciplinaries, and then it's like, well, I either leave or they're going to sack me, basically. And because I didn't want to get sacked, because obviously I knew that would look bad on me, I ended up leaving. So I'd start another job, and then I did do really well there, and like I'd have all the best intentions, and then slowly my mental health would just start to catch up and degrade and all this kind of stuff. And again, I didn't understand why. So anyway, I won't go into too many details because there's a whole long story around like how I ended up getting into tattooing. But when I did, I felt so passionate about it, and I knew that this was like where I wanted to be. So when I did I did my apprenticeship and I was working in a studio, loved the team, absolutely had the best experience there. Unfortunately, the studio wasn't really fit to have me there like long term, because I was kind of sharing a space with somebody else. There wasn't really the room, so I ended up going to a different studio. Now, at the time, I was working and selling my artwork, and so I had the art business, which I'd been doing for a couple of years. So I was spending time on that. And then on the quiet times when I didn't have any bookings, because this studio, it wasn't really like a walk-in studio. It was like, it everything was kind of booked in, I'd be like, right, I don't have any bookings today, so I'm just going to do my artwork at home today, and then I'll come in like tomorrow or whenever I had like bookings in. I was obviously always actively trying to get bookings, but when I didn't see the need to be in the studio when I could be working on my other stuff. Anyway, so and I understand why they wanted me in the studio. I completely get that. They're like, well, come and do your artwork here. You know, it's good to be around the other artists and stuff, which I did try. But for me, when I'm working, I like lock into what I'm doing, and I'm like hyper focused in what I'm doing. And I found that when I was working there, I'd have people coming up to me, chatting to me, and like, which is lovely, but I got nothing done. So I really wasn't productive. So I was like, this just doesn't really work for me. Like, it doesn't work for the way I work. So anyway, in the end, I ended up leaving that studio for other reasons, but I'm not going to go into that. And basically, my friend had opened a studio in Manchester, Shallows, which is where I go to get tattooed now. And so I knew by this point, I was like, maybe I can set up my own place, because it's like, I feel like the shop environment isn't necessarily like for me. I was getting very burnt out. I think because with the ADHD especially, it's like if you've got a lot going on, a lot of noises, a lot of distractions, and don't get me wrong, it's really fun to work in a studio. It really is fun. But there would be days where I'm like, I can't focus. I'm getting really burnt out, and it's actually like, it's giving me anxiety, like being here, like, and you know, the music's really loud and there's so much going on, there's customers come back and forth, and you're trying to like focus on what you're doing, talking to your customer while you've got all this other stuff going on, and it was just too much. So I found that I was like, right, this actually is just like not working for me and just how I am personally. And also on the days where I was burnt out and I just wanted to do my artwork, if I had no bookings, I wanted to be at home doing that. You know, I didn't want to be in an area where it was like there was so much going on. I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't do my work. It just didn't feel like the right move for me. So anyway, that was one of the reasons why I was like, okay, I think if I set up my own space, and I didn't know what that looked like at the time. I didn't know whether I'd rent somewhere. I didn't know whether I could do it at home. Like I didn't know. It was just kind of like, I think this is what I need to do for myself. So yeah, I basically, I ended up guesting at my friend's studio in Manchester, Shallows. And she knew that I was there temporarily while I was setting my place up. So that worked out really well. So I was doing that kind of part-time just as and when I had like customers in. But my main focus was like setting up the home studio. So I was working on doing that as I was guesting there. And that was great. That was really fun. And yeah, so basically that was kind of why. It was like, I knew as much as studios are fun and it is lovely being around other artists, especially if they're a good team and you know that you can all inspire each other and all this kind of stuff. For me personally, with being neurospicy, you know, it just didn't work for me. I knew I needed to be at home, you know, a relatively calm and quiet environment and controlling my own diary and, you know, like fitting it around the days where I'm like really burnt out. I can just be like, right, okay, well, we'll just take it easy today. Or like, if I'm feeling like I've been doing too much, I'll like book things, you know, it just worked better for me. I could just manage my own mental health while I was at home doing my own thing. You know, I have my cheesy like soul music on, you know, it's all very chill. It's a really cozy environment. And I deliberately made it that way because I wanted it to feel calming and comforting, and not just for my customers, but for me too. You know, I want to work in a nice place. I want to have my own artwork around. I want it to feel really lovely when you come into the studio, and hopefully I've achieved that. And, you know, I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure out my business as I go. You know, I'm not quick with responses with emails, which a lot of my customers will tell you. I am trying, but there will be times when it's like a week, you know, before I respond to people. And it might just be that I'm really busy and I've got my son, especially, you know, when he's here for like the holidays and stuff, like I do, you know, slip behind the admin stuff. So I'm still figuring things out and everything, but I do feel like this way of doing it was like the best fit for me. So yeah, if you kind of are feeling that might be something that you're interested in, let me know and I can give you any advice or any tips and things like that. I can definitely do a video on like how to set up your home studio, because obviously they'll be different for different areas, but the principle's the same. You need certain things in place and things like that. One thing I will say is I do highly recommend starting out in a tattoo shop. So you actually need, with the council, you need to have at least a year of like a tattoo apprenticeship essentially. But I would suggest much longer than that, like working in other shops, getting your experience, learning. One of the things, obviously, the downsides being in a private studio is that you are on your own. A lot of the stuff you are doing is solo, so that you've got no one to kind of bounce ideas off. You've got no one to teach you anything. So you kind of need to have that already before you start your private studio, really. Another thing is I've got, fortunately, a couple of my friends are artists. So, and also when I'm going to get tattoos, I kind of like chat to them about work, and I'll be picking up tips, and we'll kind of be exchanging ideas and like products and things like that. So I'm very much still involved in the studio like life, if that makes sense. And I think if I didn't have that, it would feel quite isolating. And don't get me wrong, I mean, even when I did my apprenticeship, a lot of the stuff that I was doing was self-taught. I was kind of looking at watching tutorials on YouTube, which is great that you have that now. But yeah, I do think it's invaluable to kind of start off with being in a studio. Also, one of the biggest things is just to practice good health and safety. Like, your clean down, your prep, all the things that you need to have in place to run a studio like professionally and cleanly and safely for your customer. You can't really stress that point if you're just learning it online. It's like you have to like live it and do it and set it up, like in the studio, and see the workings of it. So that stuff that you learn is just invaluable, and you do pick up so much by watching other artists and learning, and also just you kind of, when I first started my apprenticeship, it was like a bit of a baptism by fire, because I was like chucked in, which was great, and it was the best way for me to learn. It was literally like a street shop. It was dead fast paced. They basically needed someone to come in and help them with all the small stuff because they were such a busy studio. So for me, it was perfect, because I was really mindful of like I needed to earn money like pretty quickly. I had a son to support. I had a house. Like, I was very recently single. My ex had just moved out, and I was like, oh God, like I need to make this work like quick. So for them to be wanting someone to actually start working straight away was great, because I've heard a lot of horror stories about certain tattoo apprenticeships where they're basically using you as like free labor, and you don't actually touch like a tattoo machine for like a couple of years and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, that is not going to work for me. Like, I want to learn and I want to do it properly, but I also want to be working like as soon as I possibly can. So they were great in the sense that they trained me up straight away, and they were like, right, let's get you on the small stuff and let's start doing that. And that was perfect, and it worked for me. Because it was so fast paced and it was a street shop, you got every kind of person you could possibly imagine coming into the studio. And so it was for me, I am quite an introverted person, and I am quite shy, and not that you would think it, because I'm like on YouTube and stuff, but I am like, meet me in real life, especially if there's like multiple people in the room, I'm like really quiet. So it was kind of like you just had to get comfortable with it really quick. And ironically, I didn't know how I'd feel about tattooing people and being like so face to face all the time, but I actually found it really easy and nice. And it was one of the things that I was kind of worried about, because obviously when I was doing my artwork, it's just me, just vibing, listen to my audiobook, and I don't have to like talk to anyone at the same time, trying to make sure they're okay, like entertain them. But I found that came quite naturally to me. So yeah, I was quite pleasantly surprised by that, and I do love that. I think that's probably one of my favorite things about my job now, is I get like this kind of like social life as I'm like chatting to all my customers, who are lovely. I really couldn't ask for like a better customer base. And yeah, they're just like little besties coming in, and we're just having a little chit chat. It's lovely. So yeah, gone on a ramble here. I can't even remember what my original point was, but basically that's why I chose to open my private studio. There was a lot of reasons. Obviously, there's a lot of reasons for and against, but for me personally, it was just the best decision. I couldn't have kept up, and I know from experience, I couldn't have kept up going into a studio like daily, working really long hours, socialising, travelling there and back. It just burns me out like way too quickly. And I would just be, I know for a fact that I would be disappointing people with like having to call in and be like, look, I can't come in today and things like that. Whereas in the home studio, because my private studio is in my home, even on a rough day, I might show up with no makeup on, which to be fair, I never wear makeup when I'm working, which I should probably change. But, I might be in like really cozy, casual clothes, but I'm there and I'm working and we're having a laugh and it's all fine. But I can just control that environment. I can literally be in my little safe space and it doesn't make me feel overwhelmed. And yeah, it's basically the best thing for me. So if that sounds like something that you might like to do, I would highly recommend it to everyone. But as I say, you do have to have you do have to have your experience. You do have to continuously learn. Another thing that I'd like to do, they're quite expensive, so I haven't done it yet, but I would really like to, is to carry on going on, I know there's a couple of artists that I really like who do, what do they call them? Like training courses, but for like already established artists, but they're talking about their tricks and you're basically like teaching you. The last one I looked at was like £1,000 and I think it was over either a day or 2 days. If I had the money, I would do it because I think I would still class myself as like a new artist and I'm still learning. So you never stop learning basically. And I don't think you ever should feel like you're at the stage where you've stopped learning, because I feel like then you're just kind of plateauing. I want to keep getting better and I want to keep improving. And I think that's just a really important thing to also be mindful of, that you definitely want to carry on. Even when you're in the private studio, you never kind of want to stay stagnant. You always want to try and achieve more because, yeah, you want to be the best artist you can be and you want your business to be the best business it can be. And so, yeah, that's my little take on that. And yeah, anyway, I hope you found this bit interesting. I definitely would recommend the private studio for anyone who is any way maybe similar to me. Maybe you're, neurodivergent or whatever. Some people just really thrive in a shop environment, even if they are ADHD, and I think that's amazing. But I just know for me personally, especially, and I don't know whether it's because like I got diagnosed with ADHD, but they've also put me forward for the autism assessment because I know I can be quite shy, introverted, and a little socially awkward. So I think that definitely has something to do with it as well. So I don't know, but whatever the reason was, this worked for me. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of give you a bit of a insight on that, really. All right, so we're going to carry on doing the cleaning and then we'll see what else we need to do. Carry on doing the cleaning and then I'll show you the like finished lovely result, and I'll hang my picture as well. I'm going to quickly show you, we were talking about the bins before. so you can see where that purple stain is on the floor. So that will just not come off. I've like bleached it, everything, and that was from the carbon paper, and it was just the little crumbly bits that came off as I was putting it in the bin. So yeah, that's why it's important to get like a closed bin like this with a bin bag, so yeah, you basically don't get all the little flaky bits like ruining your floor. So yeah, just a little tip from me to you. Hey guys, we're back. It's the next day. Well, actually, I think it's 2 days later. I just got really busy and didn't have time to finish it the other day. So I'm going to show you some of the stock that's been delivered because I've just had, let me see if I can flip this around. I've just had a huge delivery of kitchen roll. And then we've also got some of the stuff that I usually get from Amazon as well. So I'll show you those bits and then we'll just finish off this corner of the room because we just need to go through just kind of like emptying the shelves and giving them a bit of a clean and then just basically popping them back on because it's all organised. I just need to basically dust everything. So I'm going to do that now. Firstly though, I'm going to pop my hornbill on the wall because that'll be a nice little before and after. I'm going to keep these tissues, even though the Plenty wrapper is far too bright for my liking. I'm going to keep them wrapped just to keep them as clean as possible. All these extra kitchen rolls. So I'm hoping you guys can see this okay. So the carbon paper that I've been getting, again, it's just from Amazon. I'll pop it on the screen, but basically that's what it looks like, if you can see that. So I usually buy them a couple of packs at a time. The grip tape I get is from Ink Safe. Again, that's just from Amazon. And I just get the black ones. Really plain, really simple, nice and cheap. So yeah, they come in boxes of 12, so get those. And then again, I get my gloves as well, and they're just latex free, powder free, disposable gloves. You get 100 at a time, and I get the size medium. The tattoo machine that I've got is a Bishop one, and I use these like wraps for it. These are, I think they're like the extra large. Extra large, you get 200 in the box. Again, they're super cheap from Amazon. Nothing crazy expensive. You're literally going to throw all of this stuff in the bin. So if it works and, you know, it's good quality and it does the job, then why, in my opinion, I just don't see the point in spending loads of money on this kind of stuff. I'd rather spend it on like good quality inks, good quality tattoo needles, a really good machine, things that actually like matter. So yeah, anyway, that's my take. So this is just some of the usual stuff. I also get, let me show you. So this petroleum jelly, it's basically like Vaseline. This I use and I get, I think I get like a tub of 6 and it's so cheap. Basically, same grade as Vaseline, it does the same job. And yeah, I just dab this on as I'm tattooing so I can kind of like wipe the area, see what I'm doing, and yeah, works really well. Again, I'm not spending a fortune on this stuff because it's areas where I can save money. So especially if you're starting out, I definitely look at getting some of your disposable stuff from places like Amazon or like the equivalent. You know, you don't have to spend a fortune on this kind of thing. So this plant is very, very fake. I am known for killing every plant that I've ever had, apart from one, which I was so excited that I actually managed to keep alive. And then my cat at the time, Sebastian, ate the leaves, and he was so funny. He loved eating plants and he loved eating paper. So there's so many books that I would go to read and like half the pages were just like chewed. He was such a silly little boy, but yeah, he was so cute. But anyway, so he ate my only plant that I managed to keep alive. So now we're back to plastic, unfortunately.